style, shouting full of flair. Eric's got the banter on the midnight air. Grouch is crackling codes without a care. Rob's antenna reaching everywhere. Handlers on air once a month, you know. Yeah, live streaming those adventures, it's a show. Yeah, so throwing signals high and low. Marvin's got that frequency glow. Wall with tales of static gold, antenna tales that never get old. Every frequency a story told. These airwaves hotter than any bull. Handtubers on air once a month, you know. Yeah, live streaming those adventures, it's a show. Ears on throwing signals high and low. Marvin's got that frequency glow. Waves crashing, stories passion, airways full of passion. Dial in for the action, every month it's satisfaction. Handtubers on air once a month, you know. You know. Yeah, live streaming those adventures, it's a show. It's a show. Ears on throwing signals high and low. Marvin's got that frequency glow.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another Northeast Happy Hour. I'm Eric, obviously N1JUR, and hello to everybody in the chat. I know we're going crazy tonight. We're all kind of trying to recover from all of our crazy schedule today, so we might look a little discombobulated and out of sorts, but stick with us. It's going to be a fun night to hang out, and we're all looking forward to just grabbing our favorite beverage here and just saying hello and talking ham radio or whatever leads us to it. We're going to kind of leave it like that today. But like I said, I forgot, and it's been a month since last time we played our, Northeast Ham Radio anthem there. My gosh, the one thing that keeps ringing through my head is that Marvin's got that frequency glow. It's like, can we bottle that? Can we make something? Can we start to sell a product here, guys? Is it possible?
Hey, I love it too. I heard a Salty Walt mentioned in there. I like that. I was like, hey, I made the song. I love it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Grouch is not here yet, but I'm sure he's busy testing his Starlink. So once he gets that going, he'll be on, and we'll interrogate him then.
I think you left me out of the song. I didn't hear anything about my general or anything, or my extra.
Well, yeah. You can't have the star, the limelight all the time. I mean, God, you got literally, that's like 90% of all of our, views.
It's our whole podcast. It's just
pretty much
me and my extra.
Yeah. We don't do anything more. So yeah. Hey, how are you guys doing? So, go ahead, Todd, say hello and pass
hey guys,
it on.
It's Todd, W1STJ. Good night tonight. It was about 50 degrees here in New Hampshire. A little windy, but we're supposed to get an inch of snow, which will melt tomorrow, and then it's going to be freezing on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Mike? How's it going, sir?
It's going good. Yeah, it's been incredibly mild the last couple days here, and stuff. It's like I was out in the backyard just earlier, like cleaning it up and stuff, and it's like so like because all that snow, foot and a half melts, and it's just so soaked and saturated and then like Todd said, next thing you know, it's going to be 20 degrees and we're going to get more snow, and it's this time of year kind of sucks, like the back and forth. Like I don't mind 4 seasons, but like I just stick with one for a few months and then move on to the next. Like
the next couple of weeks
back and forth.
The next couple of weeks is just terrible. But, we're going to get all this melting, and then we're going to have mud season, and everything's got to dry out. So
yeah. But I'm sure that you guys are all starting to notice, like, at least with like the sunset and the sunrise, like we're getting some more sunlight and some stuff like that, which is definitely nice. It kind of, it stinks in the winter when, 20 meters closes at like 4 p.m. because the sun's down and everything else. So it's nice we're getting some more sunlight. So
and we're gonna get daylight savings time, right? Doesn't it come up in a week
this
or two?
week? Well, one more week and we're there.
One more week.
Woo-hoo. Finally feel like a normal human being. Man, that'd be crazy.
I've always said that New England should be on Atlantic time, because if you look at the map, we're way out.
Yeah.
Compared to New York and New Jersey, we're a lot farther.
Absolutely.
east.
I'll agree with you on there. I know my wife's in Virginia and I'm up here working. I call her every morning and she's like, "Yeah, you should see the sun's coming up. It's beautiful." I go, "Honey, it's been daylight here for an hour." You know what I mean?
Get with the program here. I got duped into our stupid weather around here. I didn't pay attention, and so I'm carrying a heavy load out to the truck this morning. And of course, there was still just that little like temperature change, where the ground still hadn't like thawed enough to puddles. It was still ice, and I took a digger. I was, and the worst part is I get home and my wife tells me this, I said I took a digger, and she's like, "Did he get it on the camera?" And I'm like, "Of course it got on the camera." So, of course I had to, have proof of life. So, now she's got the video forever in her camera roll, and I can only imagine where that's just going to go in my future. But well, either way,
I didn't like the other day we got like slush or something. I never shoveled. I just said, it'll just evaporate. And then it didn't. And then this morning, my whole driveway was like, you could have ice skated on it.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it'll warm up, it'll melt, and it did.
Yeah. Well, we're good. That's what we're all shooting for here. It's supposed to be 50 this weekend, but with that, let's throw it over the wall. How are you doing, Walt? Welcome back.
Great. Yeah, thank you. It's good to be back. I've gone through January and February, where it was one of those life valleys where you just got everything going on, and now I'm coming back up the hill, and then things are excellent. Matter of fact, I got a new radio last week. I got the Yaesu FT710. Been playing with that all week, and everything I've ever said about Yaesu, I take it all back. I am falling in love with that radio. Oh
wow!
My God,
I wish the Grouch was on. He needs to hear that.
That radio.
If he's
And
watching,
I'll tell you why. I sold my FT891. I hated that radio because the menu and everything. I didn't even look. I have not looked at one book, video, or whatever. I cut that FT710 on, looked at it, hit a couple buttons, and I can work my way all the way through it. It's an easy, easy to learn, easy to get up and rolling. You hit the function key, the screen comes up. It's all touch screen. It's wonderful. I love this radio. I really do. But the problem with it, though, it's still a freaking brick. It's big, and I don't, and I'm not going to go out on the beach with all the sand blowing on my $1,000 radio. I'll do it with my $399 G90, but it's not going on the beach.
Wow. Cool. Well, dude, I'm impressed. I never thought you'd come back to we'll call it the dark side, but it's good to see, I definitely want to hear your thoughts on that one, but, Chris, how are you? Chris, good to see you, man. What's going on?
Can you guys hear me all right?
You are good. Yeah. Audio 5.9 plus, buddy.
Mm-hmm. All right. I have had a very chaotic afternoon here. Wanted to join you guys, but also have the contest, ARRL DX contest going on, which I thought started at 8, but it started at 7. Been trudging through thigh-deep snow in our backyard trying to get antennas set for it. Had to run to the hardware store back. My shins are all like almost bloody because of the ice on the top of the snow and post holing everywhere.
Oh gosh.
So just barely ran it into the van here and got on just in time to join in. So not sure how long I'll last, but we'll see.
Oh, well, we appreciate you, giving us a slice of your time, because we know every bit of the time in the DX especially the aerial contest, is precious. So, if you have to bail, totally fine. We won't mind. We know where you're going. So all good either way, but thank you, for coming and hang out with us. So cool. Well, like I said, we're kind of running this, off the cuff here tonight, because all of us have just, like, I'm sure everybody else in YouTube land has just been crazy running around, trying to figure out life and keep their head above water. So, we figured we keep it a little light. Mike did the thumbnail, for this show. And so you can kind of allude, if you've been paying attention to his channel, what he's been up to and goofing off stuff. Of course, he definitely has that after sun glow. So if that's any indication, where he's been to warmer temperatures. So I'm looking forward to hearing some of his experiences. Although we won't say your radio experiences were 100% failure, just a good learning experience. Would you say that's correct? Assumption, Mike?
Oh yeah. And like I jokingly say, there's no such thing as a failed activation, when it comes to POTA or SOTA or whatever, because every time that you operate portable, there's an opportunity to learn. And you could probably say the same when you're operating from home or something, but I think definitely more so the opportunities to learn and experiment are more prevalent when you're portable, whether you're at a different park or whatever, because like Dave Gassler, everything affects everything, and and stuff. So there's always opportunities to learn. And I'm on the road a lot for work this time of year. I just got back from a vacation with my family to Puerto Rico. And I took advantage of opportunities, to learn and also have some fun. So, I'm not afraid to fail or make mistakes. I don't like to, sometimes, we don't always like to admit that we screwed up or made mistakes or we could have done things better. But at the end of the day, that's how you learn and that's how you get better. And that's how you help others too. So.
Says someone who's had both a hotel failure and a PR failure. So.
He's not the only person that's had a hotel failure.
Oh, no. I refuse to even set up an antenna in a hotel, knowing the fact that it's just like putting it in a Faraday box.
It is. They're impossible. I tried it with a mag loop, and man, that was a frustrating night in the hotel room with a mag loop.
But when things work, when something works, when you're not expecting much, that's when it's like, that's just like, yeah. And that can be some of the draw to, something like operating QRP with just lower power. Just like when you're doing something, when you're maybe at a disadvantage, when you're the underdog and you come through, like, it can be so much
just like the bragging rights. Yeah. you like to know I've triumphed and I can hold the torch high.
I'll tell you a quick failure that involves somebody on screen with us. Chris, it's you. I need one state to have my QR.
I can imagine what that one would be.
Yeah. So, a few weeks ago, it's the Vermont QSO party, right? So Sunday, I go Saturday, whatever. I go out with a vertical antenna down to the beach here in Rhode Island, and man, I'm just killing it, man. I got great signals to everybody except Vermont. I guess that was in my skip zone, right? So I could hear Chris. He was I guess you were roving or whatever. I was just like, Kilo 4 Oscar Golf Oscar, Kilo 4 Kilo. I did that for an hour and a half. I want you guys to know I still have 49 out of 50 states. I don't have Vermont. I mean, it's just like
he told me he heard you and he just didn't want you to get it. So he heard you.
Let's change that. Let's change that, Walt. I'm surprised I didn't hear you.
Basically what he's saying is let's go to 2 meters.
Yeah, we'll get you. I'll get you though for sure. Do you log with QRZ? That was even the thing. I probably was, a lot of people during QSO parties are just like POTA, you know what I mean? They'll do the log or whatever, but it's more like a contest or a club or whatever. You won't even get it. So I got to catch you. I got to catch you on a good spot there, Chris. So it would make me happy if you were the reason I got my 50 state award.
So I got, for POTA, I need Alaska and Hawaii. And March 20th, I'm heading out to California to see my brother for his 50th birthday. And I'm bringing my radio. And I think as soon as I get there, I'm setting it up in the backyard. And I'm going to go hunt, hopefully, Alaska or
you've set yourself up for failure, dude. They aren't going to be on.
It's crazy how it works, too. I mean, it's like I need one country or one contact or whatever to get verified to have the North America thing. I have Europe, of course. I wonder why, but anyway, I worked in Europe for 2 years, but it's like you look at all the yellow in your log of just people that won't verify. It drives you nuts. I'm sure you probably have a Hawaii and Alaska contact. It's just not verified.
Well, I have it, just not a park. So every time I go to the National Rail Trail where Eric and I are working on our kilo slowly, I always get Alaska. And I was asking, I go, it's from North Pole, Alaska. I'm like, you in a park? He's like, no, no, no. I'm like, do any of you guys, because there's only like 7 of them up there. And I said, do any of you guys ever go out in a park? And I guess there's one guy that goes all year round. But he's like, well, he goes, I wasn't going to go out today. It was like -10. Like yesterday was -20. I'm like, oh, I get it. So I got to wait for the summer.
Yep.
It's funny though. It's like, you know how many people I've been here now, what, 9 months, 10 months? How many people when I talk to them said, oh, wow, I needed Rhode Island. You know what I mean? It's like, there's this place. Fortunate for me, Rhode Island is one of them. It's a hard state to get, I guess, in, you know, in other parts of the country. So Chris, this is your time. What is the magic sauce that you can convey to our listening base to get in contact if they need Vermont?
Oh, shoot me a call on social media or something. I'll hop on. No problem. Yeah.
There you go. Hit them up.
And
Lost Nation Radio.
Checking, I was just checking. I worked all 50 states except for Hawaii during the Vermont QSO party. So there was a path somewhere. I don't know what band you heard me on, but I was working 80 through 10. So
I heard you. I think I heard you on 10 and I heard you on 20. Problem is, I was, like I said, I had a vertical antenna, and I think I was just skipping right over you. If I had like an infed or something, I probably could have gotten you easy. So I just put up a permanent. I'm in a new place. I just got an apartment. This is a basement apartment, kind of close to on the west side of Providence. I just moved here last week. And Sunday, the guy I'm renting it from, an engineer I work with, said, man, you got the woods behind us, the backyard, do whatever you want back there. So I'm like, oh, yeah, this is awesome. So I have an inverted V.
Towers going up. Guys like,
yeah, well, I got an inverted V up in the tree and back down, an inverted V infed half wave. And it's going from east to west. But I noticed, like, the Toronto area and all the way down, like Ontario, everybody I talk to are like, you're 5, 9, 20 over or whatever. So I got to be able to skip it down into like Burlington. You know what I mean? I'm not that far away now. I was like, we'll see.
You could probably get them on 40 meters, I would imagine.
I would think
that's probably the
yeah.
way to go. Like, just based on my experience up here in the Northeast with 40 meters, like I can get everybody.
It was that way. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If you have 80 should be easy. 40 should definitely work. Yeah.
I'll get it. But it's funny you say that, Mike. Morton in Norway, when I was in Poland, I was on the Baltic, like all the way north, and he's all the way south in Norway. So we were kind of the same distance from each other as maybe, me in Vermont. And I could only talk to him on, me and him talk all the time on 40. We could never make a 20, or 15 or a 10 contact. It was always the 40 meter band.
Yeah, I think my experience when I did any POTA was when I was pretty much up in the Burlington area, way like as far north Burlington you could go. I could get a few of those Mass, Rhode Island, maybe Maine in there, maybe just a little bit shy of the New Hampshire, but New Hampshire was always a skip zone for me and stuff like that. So, it's tough for sure.
I'll get it.
Cool. You will. Well, dude, we have faith in you, Walt. No problem. Just give it time.
Yeah. I'm going to do it without a beach, too. I'm going to just go in the back. There's a picnic table in the backyard, too. I'm going to sit out there.
You might throw your listener base a curve, though, man. They're all used to you being at the beach.
I know.
Cool. Well, hey, Marvin, welcome joining. It looks like you got our dinner plans all squared away, so welcome. How's things going with you, man?
Good. No, the wife had company dinner for holidays. The first time they could get everybody together, and had there's a Theodore's in Springfield, Massachusetts. It's a kind of a blues place, and barbecue and blues. And I honestly, it's probably the best barbecue I've had in the Northeast I can find so far. So that was really good to hear.
I'm going to have to throw that challenge on you.
Yeah. All right, besides my own, you're right. Besides my own barbecue.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's a category differently. I'm thinking like actually commercial places that make money.
No, I get what you're saying. But, no, everything's going good. It's been really busy and a lot going on. So
cool.
I'm glad to see some warmer weather starting to come around hopefully for a little while here, and it'll start to get warmer, but I know it's a little bit of a cold snap's coming in too. So but got an activation in last week at the Springfield Armory doing a POTA activation. That was kind of fun to get out and do those again. So Yeah.
Well, there he is. Finally. My gosh. Did you wrestle Elon tonight? Grouch is still tuning in live. Do we hear you on site there, Mr. Grouch? Are you there? I guess not.
He looks troubled.
Very troubled. Elon and him are not on good terms.
Rescue.
Cool. All right. Well, so while Mr. Grouch there is working out some technical issues there, are you good, man?
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Roger.
Loud and clear,
All
Mr. Horizon.
right.
Did you and Elon come to terms now?
Yeah, it took a computer reboot, but yeah, old Uncle Elon has got me on the internet. So
Woohoo! Nice. Stable internet for command center Grouch. So good deal. So anyway, we'll ask you how you, since you're last of the show here, how are you doing? What's going on? How are you?
hey, I'm doing good. It was a good day. Started out the day, did some marriage therapy early this morning. Went well, and then spent the afternoon with the family at home, and then we went to the Rage Cage in Nashua, where we smashed shit for like a half hour, 45 minutes. I got to smash a whole bunch of coffee pots and cups and glasses and coffee mugs and all sorts of things. It was great.
Do they have an option to bring your own stuff from home?
No, but they do take donations.
Oh, well,
And if you want to smash like TVs and stuff, it's like an extra $40. But yeah,
That's good to know, to bring on, instead of bringing your stuff that costs money to the dump, like your TVs, just donate it there for free.
yeah,
I mean, TVs are like $10 to drop them off.
Yep. Blowing shit up. Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, it sounds like you got a good
Bring all
workout there.
my ICOM radios down there so they can smash them.
Wow, he's hot one
Peter's
tonight.
gonna hate.
Wow.
I don't know. Why don't you tell the Grouch what your new radio is and how much you love it?
I'm having a love affair with my new Yaesu FT710, man. I'm in love with that radio.
Hey, it's all right. It's all right. I don't completely hate Yaesu. I just prefer ICOM.
I was it was either get this or I was gonna like get the ICOM and change my call to Kilo 4 Oscar Grouch Oscar, is what I was thinking about doing.
For as much as an ICOM fanboy, I admittedly am. Like, I've done several videos on the 710 because my club has one, and when I did one of the videos on the 710, it took right off because it was right in the beginning when the radio came out, and it's a great radio. Like, especially for the price now. It's a really good radio. I have some preferences based on my style of operating. There's some things that aren't necessary, but I like having like the emergency tuner. I like some of the display options with the icon. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at the prices and I hate to use the term entry level, but just based purely on the price point for like under $1,000, like that, the 710 is a great radio. It's really, really good. And I got to get out there and use it again sometime soon because I still got some more things I want to do with it. But it's really good. And I've sold plenty of them based on like the emails that I get where people are reaching out after a video like, hey, what do you think? I'm thinking about this or that. And it's like, no, buy it. If this fits your budget, this fits your use, it's a great radio. You're not going to be disappointed. And we need competition at the end of the day.
As most ICOM users will say, ICOM just sells itself. So,
yeah. I will be honest, Mike. I settled on this radio. I forever have wanted basically a Zygu G100. I've wanted a 100-watt Zygu G90. I would said if someone would just make it, and I kind of started looking at the 710. Okay, it had an ATU built into it. It has a beautiful screen for SDR. I mean, it's got everything. I was like, that's kind of what I've been looking for. So I bought it, and I bought the Field. You know what I mean? That even sold me. Like, this is a Field radio, right? Then I pulled it out of the box. Holy cow, man! I'm going to need a forklift to get this thing in the field. But it's for me.
You said my trigger word there, Walt. Do not say it's Field radio. It is not a Field radio.
It isn't. I love it. I love the radio. And I'm just, like I said, if anyone knows me, I go out on the beach and the wind's howling, the sand's whipping, and you could look at my G90. It's got sand all the way around the screen and all that stuff. I'm not taking that damn radio on the beach, man. I think it's like just no way. It's too nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be it'll hit a picnic table at a park, but it's not going out on the beach with me. The G90 will always be the beach radio. You know.
Now, have you had, and I don't want to get this into a radio review, we could save it for our channels, but have you played with the DX10 at all?
No, I haven't.
Okay. All right. So my suggestion is, if you can get your hands on one, and if you need me to ship mine down to you for like a week, I'm happy to. I'd love to see your, feedback on what you think of the DX10, because that's the hybrid one where it's got the, true SDR and the, the HET in it too as well. And I love that.
I love my DX10. It's a great little radio. I mean, of all the Yaesu settings and menus that are out there, it's probably one of the easiest ones to maneuver if you need to get to something quick.
Yep.
And I think the 710 is based
same
on
thing,
right? It's the same thing.
Yeah. Just a nail. A small.
I appreciate I appreciate the offer. My problem is I'm a radio hoarder, and if I borrow yours and give it back, I'll end up buying myself one. I've got like.
Well, that's what we do here, Walt. We enable each other to be able to spend each other's money in an appropriate manner for the purposes of being able to, fill our hearts and that empty void in the middle of our, chest that we call ham radio.
It's like, what I do is I have an Affirm account, you know what I mean, where you can break stuff out monthly payments. It's like, so as soon as I got my Affirm account down to zero, boom, now I got it back up with the Yaesu. So
it's like a line of credit. Yeah, that's all it really is.
That's what it is. As soon as I get that, because hey, it's easier to give up, $60-$70 a month than it is to just whip out $1,000. You know what I mean? So
that's how the ESPCA stays in business. Give for 6 cents a dollar on the day.
Yeah, I don't care. It's like, we'll see though. But I've had a lot of radios and played around with a lot of them. And this thing, I'll be honest with you, it's the nicest radio I've ever owned. Yeah,
that's good radio. I'm definitely impressed. I'm curious to see what your long-term plans are with it, and seeing more of it on your channel. So cool. Well, I think before we kind of really get off path here a little bit, I know Mike has been touring the world, taking in culture, and doing some really cool stuff. And I'm super jealous because he got to go to a warm place. And sad bar story is, like, I mentioned that to my wife, and she basically gave me the dirty, stern look of like, why don't we go to Puerto Rico? And I'm like, there's so many reasons why. But anyway, so with that in hand, so do tell. I mean, you obviously packed radios, you did some good stuff, but
Definitely.
I'll give you the floor. We could start there with you, and then we'll let the chains off and go anywhere.
Yeah, let me see how I can add this. I got some photos. Okay, this will work just like this.
Those in the chat, hold on a sec, Mike. We are doing a geography lesson. This is the part of, you may not get on other YouTube channels.
Yeah. So for the American audience who might not know where Puerto Rico is, now here's the island. And I'll preface this by saying that this was my wife's idea. She wanted to, instead of doing a big Christmas, wanted to do a trip. And she was insistent on going to an island. And I even reached out to Todd to talk to him about St. John, because I think he's a big fan. St. John's U.S. Virgin Islands, right, Todd?
Yep. Yeah. See where it says Charlotte Emile?
Yep. And
it's the island to the right.
Yeah. So we looked at some options, and basically what kind of fit our schedule, budgets, and everything else is we went down to Puerto Rico. First time I've ever been, and we spent most of our time on the eastern part in Fajardo. We got a Verbo and whatnot. So that's why I put the map up, just so you could kind of see in context where we were. But what everyone wants to know, and here it is. This is I was blown away by the reaction I got from TSA when they opened up the bag, because this is the first time I've ever flown with HF equipment. And I got to give a shout out to Alan from Punk Rock Ham Radio. A couple weeks ago, he had a really good video and some tips on kind of getting through TSA. And one of the things was about how you want to keep your ham radio stuff separate. like you don't want to put your ham radio stuff in the bin with your wallet and your phone and some of that, because they're going to take that. They're going to want to go through some of the things. And you've seen a video on my channel before with this bag I switched to for the ICOM 705. It's I forget the name of the company that makes it. It might be Bag Smart or something like that. But I mean, it's like the size of a lunch cooler. It's not. It's designed for cameras and photography stuff, but it fits perfect. That's what I use to bring. I put everything I needed in there except for the POTA 20 murder mast. That was in the backpack. But I knew that they were going to want to check this out. I assume they were, based on what I've heard from everyone else. And sure enough, they pulled that aside, and I'm waiting, and the female agent unzippers the bag to go take a look. And when she saw the pig on top, like the reaction on her face, like she just melted. She was like, "Oh my God, it's so cute." It was like, oh, and I was like, I got to remember this, because, and I got a mail agent on the way back when we were leaving Puerto Rico.
He looked at you differently,
He didn't have
I'm
the
sure.
same reaction, but from now on, when I travel, like I'm gonna put the get hammed piggy on top. Unfortunately, I didn't see any ham cars when I was down there, but I at least had one to leave should I need to, and whatnot. But I know everyone always, it seems like TSA and traveling with ham gear is a popular topic. I had no issues.
Is that a lunchbox?
It's about the same size. It's designed to be a camera bag, so it's got like that felt kind of liner, and you can put some Velcro padding and stuff. But it's about the size of a lunchbox. It fits the 705 perfectly. I think the Tech Prepper adapted this one too, or a similar one for some of his stuff.
Does that fit the 705 with the wind camp or without?
I have the POV cage on mine.
Okay.
Yep. So I have the 705 in the in the bottom with the screen facing up. It has the plastic acrylic what's it, the sidekicks cover on it, and then the battery and the mic are on top of that. And like I said, it fits perfect. I got the antennas, the coax adapters, everything I need is in there except for the mast. But I traveled light with respect to the ham gear because we had, we were going for almost a week, and we had plenty of other stuff to bring, but no issues going through TSA. They looked at this stuff for like a split second. The agent in Puerto Rico coming back made an interesting comment to me as he was taking stuff out, and he's like, "Sorry, I got to do this," or something like that. And I'm like, "No, it's fine. I expect it." And he said that the reason is he was looking at the 705 was, he's like, "These are so big, they don't like scan correctly. It doesn't scan well." So I don't know what there is to that or not, but I was very surprised. So the last thing I'll say about TSA was they had no interest in the mast. I thought, from what I heard from others, they were going to be taking out the mast and like, what is this thing or whatever. They could care less about that. They just unzipped the bag. They did a couple swabs on a few things like the battery and the radio, and that was it. So,
well, you know what? When I go, if I bring a weight to throw the line over the tree, they always stop and check that. Okay. And they're always like, what is this? What is it used for? Because it shows up. I saw it on the video. It just shows up as a dark mass. So it's just solid. They
looks
can't
like
see
C4.
Yeah, well, right, exactly. But, I've gone, I bring my gear, and just when I travel to go see those kids, I just bring my backpack, and I shove clothes around it because I'm only there for a night. So I don't need a lot of stuff. And they always, every time it's different. Sometimes I get through no problem. Other times they go and, they want to look at the battery. Other times they look at the radio. One time they looked at my antenna, and but I've never been like told, no, you can't come through. One guy was a ham, and I think he just wanted to check out my gear because he looked at everything. And I was like, really, dude? Like you checking out everything? But yeah, I mean, the one thing is that paper, is that the TSA rules that you put in there?
No, that's it. That's just a copy of my license.
And that's always a great idea to throw a copy of your license in there.
Yep.
I've done the same thing when I've traveled. So
Yep.
I do the same thing when I travel, especially going to Europe. I take that, I put the license and the CEPT agreement right together, right with my equipment.
Yeah.
You also want to put in the rules of the TSA with the battery requirements, because I'll tell you, they don't know. Like, they honestly, none of those agents know the battery requirement. And they look at a big battery, they're like, whoa, 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 and then you just show them right from their website, just print it off, and they're like, oh, thanks for that, great.
Yeah, I try. You can see the blue underneath the license. That's the Denko battery. It's actually a kit one that I built, and so it's a 5.5 amp hour one. But the Denko battery is just like the Bioenos and stuff. They have the stickers on there that say what the amp hours, watt hours, and stuff are, and they do. Like I said, they looked at it, they gave it a quick swipe, and that was it. They weren't questioning anything. They saw the license on the top. They didn't look at it. I just said it's. I go, I'm an amateur radio operator. It's all ham radio gear, and that was it. They were probably because they realized I'd start preaching to them about ham radio, and they're just like, let's get this guy out of here.
Yeah. It's like,
I'm going to throw a quick plug out. K8MRD did a video just last week on his Mailbag Monday, I think. He was talking about going through batteries and TSA sizes, and looks like they've actually upped it. So you can go from like 100 to 166 milliwatts now. You can actually go a little bit bigger in carrying batteries, which I thought I was limited to 100 watts. But now it looks like they've upped it a little bit, so you can do a little bit more, which is good. So I just might want to check that video out. I don't have the exact details in front of me, but if you're going to be flying or traveling with some batteries, it's probably a good idea to go check that out, like Todd mentioned, just because I've traveled with them. I've never had an issue either, but it's good to have that information with for sure. So,
I'll tell you, the airlines have different rules versus the TSA. So some airlines will give you lower amounts, but the TSA doesn't care because they just care about their rules. So if you're flying on an airline, unless they search your bag before you go in, and they never do that, you're pretty much good to go. The one thing you do have to worry about is if you're flying any of those commuter jets, you got to make sure you don't throw any of your ham radio stuff. Like when you fly on these like little American commuter jets, the CR 700 and 900s, if you have like a roller bag, they make you shove that underneath at the gate, and then pick it up when you get back at the gate. You don't want to have your ham radio gear, at least the battery, going underneath the plane. You want to have it with you. So just think about that when you're packing.
Yeah, and the way that we traveled, we checked a lot of stuff. I had a backpack that I kind of put above that had the mast in it, and then it had like some of my charging cables and tech and just random stuff. And then I had this, which I just carried in my hand. And like, this was easy. Like I could always put this under the seat or whatever. I knew that, that was the one thing of concern with the LifePo battery, and that I wouldn't have to worry about if they had a full flight and they weren't going to have enough room for everyone to bring carry-ons and stuff. But that bag, I just got to say, that worked out well. I could get everything I needed in there to play radio on VHF, UHF, HF, and with the exception of obviously the mast, it was perfect. So it worked out really well. It made it very convenient.
I just had an issue with taking a mast through TSA in my hometown of Norfolk about 3 weeks ago. I had Callum sent me a new the DX10 DX-Commander to 10 meter the short mast, whatever. And
classic one, yeah.
Expedition, that's the word I'm looking for. Man, words are hard. Anyway, he sent it to my home in Virginia, and I wanted to bring it up here. So I put it in my backpack and went through TSA, and the guy wasn't going to let me through. He said, this is a tool. I go, no, it's not. I said, I use it for ham radio. I'm explaining. And he's like, I don't think I can let you through with this. So I popped the top off and started sliding it out. I said, look, it's just a telescopic fiberglass fishing rod. He said, okay, man, just go. And I got through. So the first time I've ever had an issue in the States. Now, battery wise, I was going back and forth to Poland for 2 years. And I quit taking batteries to Europe because not that they didn't let me in, but like every time I would go through Frankfurt or Munich, they would pull my batteries in the radio. One time I had the USDX that had an internal battery in it. They pulled them aside and pulled me aside, and I had to wait and wait and wait. And, they did the run through or whatever. And I almost missed a flight there. That's why I don't know if you guys ever seen those little, they're called Schnitt powers, those little tiny power packs you can plug in. I started taking those over because I knew I wasn't going to go out portable. I was always going to be operating inside the house in Poland. I quit carrying batteries or any radio with a battery in it over to Europe because that was the only thing that I ever had an issue with going through customs. And it was only Germany. It was the only place I had a problem with. And like I said, I got through. It just seems like I got pulled aside and it was busy, and I'd wait and wait and wait, and it drove me crazy.
Yeah, and I'll go back to Country James had a question about taking stuff out. I intentionally had all my radio gear except for the mast in this bag, and I put that bag in a separate bin from everything else, and I just let them deal with it because I knew as soon as it went through the scanner, whether I take stuff out in advance or not, they're going to pull it. With the battery and the radio in there, they're going to pull it. It's not going to come out kosher on the scanner. Like the guy in Puerto Rico explained to me, they just can't see through some of that stuff. They don't know what it is, and they're going to want to look at it. So I'll let them do their thing. But it was easiest to try to keep things like the cell phone, the watch, my glasses, all that stuff in a different bin, so they weren't yanking that along with the radio stuff and whatnot. But I'm going to jump ahead to a couple other photos here real quick. This was in San Juan when we got there the first night. And I'll just point this out. I don't, everyone's got their opinions on APRS and WinLink and stuff like that. But when I travel, personal or work, I always kind of at minimum, I'm going to bring an HT with me, and I'm always going to try to do WinLink and APRS just to see if I can get out there and how I can communicate or whatnot. And I had no problem with APRS, and I got to give a shout out to Freddie Mac, the ham radio crusader, because he saw me beacon on APRS and sent me a message when I was down there. And that was just real cool, to get that. But it's good to practice this stuff on the road because I made a mistake. I screwed up, and I didn't realize this till a couple days later when I was trying WinLink again from the condo we were on the other side of the island. My settings were off. And so APRS worked fine. WinLink didn't. And it was because I was trying something new in the Radio Mail app on the iPhone. From my home location here in Rochester, I've been using the Digipeater function to check WinLink using VHF. So I can't quite reach the WinLink station on the other side of the county with my HT and 5 watts. So I got to use a Digipeater, and I got to connect to one station that's then making the hop for me to across the county where I can get into the gateway there. I forgot to turn the Digipeater function off. And I didn't realize that till later, but that's another good reason just to try to do some of this stuff on the road when you're not in your element. Is you'll make some mistakes like that and you'll learn from it. And obviously it's nothing mission critical, but like when I realized it a couple days later, I was like, oh shoot, that's what I did. Now I can avoid making mistakes like that in the future. And so, but when we got to the condo, I want to go back, man, because I did this view, waking up to this every day, and seeing that amplifier right there. That's
Hey, Mike, it obviously is the case for your radio. I need to share this because I was just quick Googling your APRS location, and it currently says, I'd rather be doing WinLink by the ocean in Puerto Rico. So there you go. So his radio area wants to be there, so you might as well just follow suit.
Yep. So
throw you back on there.
Yep. I took it away. All right. Yeah. So I mean, that was just a phenomenal view, and very blessed to be able to wake up and have some drinks at night with that and stuff. But same thing I did there, right from the balcony. And I brought back like 12 or 14 of the the Puerto Rican beers that I was hoping to have on stream, but I'm still fighting this cold, so I'll wait till next time. But there I did, APRS, WinLink, and a cool thing about WinLink, I think there's the map. So that red border up that you see on the eastern side of the island is Fajardo. That's where we were. The larger island to the southeast, Vieques, that's where I was getting into WinLink, a station there, and it was over 20 miles as the crow flies that I was just, hitting from my balcony with the HT, between, saltwater and then clear line of sight, clearly making a difference. But I was super excited to be able to do WinLink and check into WinLink Wednesday and do all that right from, the balcony with just an HT. It's like part of the reason I like doing that stuff when I travel is like, you don't know unless you try. And, and the more that you try and practice, the more that you learn how to use your gear. And I intentionally waited till, I got down there and manually programmed in repeaters and some other stations on the HT. And it was the first time I was able to do it all without using the cheat sheet or anything, because I've done it regularly. And it's just good practice, learn how to use your stuff and have fun with it.
You make any actually 5.2 contacts or anything like that?
Nope. I tried from the balcony. I tried when I was doing POTA. I called out a few times, no luck. I programmed in a few repeaters. I called out a couple times and, I didn't hear much back. I heard some QSOs. Most of them were in Spanish, so I didn't really know what they were talking about or what was going on, but
just you.
But, I tried and I'll say this, like I reached out on Twitter. I threw some stuff out on the POTA Facebook page and I was like, hey, I'm going to be down in Puerto Rico. If you know any good repeaters or whatever, let me know. I know I can look in repeater book and stuff, but sometimes it's nice to just hear from people like what repeaters are active, where you're and I got some good feedback and stuff. It doesn't hurt to, reach out and help and try to get an idea, like where should I be listening or trying and stuff. And I got some good feedback too when I was, trying to get ideas for some of the POTA parks and stuff like that.
Well, here's the question we're all wanting to know though. Did you activate while you were there?
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
You can't jump ahead.
Sorry.
This is not a choose your own adventure.
Yeah. So,
But did you tell them that Parachute Jesus?
Yeah. Carlos gave me some good tips too. I reached out to him, before we went to just get some ideas about the island and everything else. And he sent me this long list where he was like, I already prepared this for somebody else, but he gave me a lot of really good tips. And,
he didn't give you any like phrases to say to the locals.
Goonie goo goo. If anyone knows Eddie Murphy's barbecue, yeah. That is not Spanish. No.
Nope.
But so you see an island, Iquitos, up in the top right of this slide image. That is an uninhabited island. It's a natural wildlife preserve because of the coral reef and everything. And that was kind of like a plan B or C. My wife booked us like all kinds of excursions and activities. We had one day, like our thing got canceled. And so we booked a boat going out there to the beach where we would get like 4 hours or so on the beach. And it's a POTA park. So I'm like, oh, this is perfect. And it had only been activated twice by the same person. So a very rare POTA park and opportunity, and I'm just like, oh, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to have a beach, saltwater, a rare one. And, and so that's where we went. And there's the view from it. If you see those buildings, and that's kind of where our condo was that we were staying in. So this is the view from the island that's in the thumbnail. And, as soon as I got there, I tried APRS. It didn't work, but I called out on 5.2. I didn't have any luck. One thing I should have done in hindsight, and I got a list of things I'll probably do a video on that I should have done on this trip that I didn't, is I forgot to program in the marine frequencies on my radio, which would have been nice being on the ocean to at least listen to some of the marine traffic or so. But that's the view from the island. I wore the K Murder shirt in hopes to get, an extra 3 or 6 dB on top of the 10 dB from the salt water.
Well, dude, that's a counter effect, problem. It actually interferes with APRS and doesn't actually improve your, opportunity to be able to make contacts.
That explains it. That probably explains it.
You should have wore the VHF shirt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, dude, you own properties, wear those things, you're guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's a shoe-in.
Dell, who was in the chat earlier, is his call sign. I'm blanking on it. I think it's like N2WK or whatever. Dell, one of the really big activators for POTA down in the DC area. He reached out to me, and after he saw me commenting about APRS not working from the island, he said it's it's hit or miss in the Caribbean as far as usage and stuff like that. But yeah, the T-shirt blocks the APRS. It's
a Faraday cloth.
Yeah, we had, and here's where the challenge happened. We get to the island, and we were going to do we were going to do 2 excursions on the island. One was snorkeling around the reef, and we were supposed to do that 15 minutes after we got there, and we did. And then we were supposed to have like a 15-minute break, and then we were going to go do this hike and this tour of the island. And then after that, we were going to have like an hour and a half or so before we had to get our boat back. And they changed the time of the hike, and they kind of, instead of doing it right after, there was like they pushed it back like a half hour or 45 minutes. And it kind of put me in the position of, am I going to go do this hike with my family and kind of this once in a opportunity, to really see some of this island, or am I gonna use the extra time to play radio? And I was like, I'm going with my family. And I knew it would limit the amount of time that I would get on the air. I didn't know it was going to limit it as much as it did, but the island was so cool to go and explore. And this is one of the limestone mines on the island, and like we hiked up to the very top of that limestone mine, and like the view looking out at all like the US and British Virgin Islands and stuff. I mean, it was a phenomenal experience. And
that's not a Puerto Rican soda.
I actually was just thinking about that. I'm like, I should check and see. I didn't bring the APT up there with me, but I started wondering, like, I wonder if that would technically be a soda up on that island or up on that hill and stuff. Yeah, no, it was so cool. But when we finished up, I got set up. That tree on the left there is that's where I set up to activate. So I had a little bit of shade. Which is important being from the Northeast because I don't do well in the sun. And I set up to activate there. And when I got on the air and I looked at my hammers log from start to finish, I only got to be on the air for about 15 minutes because of how the time, the schedule changed and everything. So I ended up with just 6 contacts. My son was there, and if I needed 2 contacts, I could have had him give me 2, so maybe I just finished with, 2 short or whatever, but it is what it is.
Mike, what band were you on? What band?
I did 20 meters.
20.
Yeah. So I set up the mast. I just leaned it into the tree and did an end-fed half wave, a 20-meter element. And I had that sloping north, and I figured that would give me the best shot. I knew I didn't have much time. And so I was like, let me go with 20 meters just because I figure that's where there'll be the most amount of activity generally. And like I said, I sloped the element north in hopes that would help as well.
Did you have any, did you do any like 8 counterpoise, 1 counterpoise, anything?
Nope. I just used the coax as a counterpoise. Yeah. And whatnot, and
call me next time, okay?
Yeah. I thought about bringing the mag loop out there just for fun, but no, that was it was a decent spot to set up. I was out of the way of everyone else. If you look and see how like all the umbrellas are and everyone's set up down there and walking around. So I was a little bit off the out of the way, still only maybe 50 feet from the water.
The funny thing in that picture, Mike, the only thing I see is how many antennas I can try to tune up.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
But yeah, so it was the first unsuccessful activation. But it is what it is. I was just glad, anyone who does POTA, my first call
15 minutes, man. Things can change. And you're talking to I have operated on the beach probably more than anybody. And in 15 minutes, it's funny. Sometimes you can sit there for 30 minutes and make one or two comments, and then like things change, and the next thing you know, you're hunting people, and you're like me with QRP. I'm breaking through over top of people with a kilowatt because it just depends. Like I said, things change as you're on a beach. It really does. So I would, if you only had 15 minutes, I'd be very proud of what you did, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I was getting out there. But I was gonna say, Bruce, Kilo 9 India Charlie Papa was the first call on the log, and anyone who does POTA knows.
You got to be kidding me! He is like my follower, Bruce.
Yeah, so he was the first one, and I just try to remind myself that, especially with POTA, like I don't get to do what I want to do unless there's somebody on the other end of the radio. Like there's got to be, for all the activators, there's got to be hunters, and so to get something,
you mean like it goes two ways?
Yes.
Synergy.
And so I was so glad at least to be able to give out a rare park to 6 people.
Yeah.
And I'll have to go through the audio, but I guarantee I had probably at least 3 or 4 people calling me, probably blind calling me, that I was responding to, but they weren't coming back. They'd say, throw out their call sign, and I'd repeat it, and I got you 5.9 or 5.7, whatever it is, but they're not coming back. So I could kind of tell like they were, just blind calling to try to see if they could get through. I don't really pay a lot of attention to the band conditions. When I get a chance to play, I just go play. It is what it is, and whatnot. But I had a narrow window. And at the end of the day, like I got to go on this awesome excursion. I got to play radio on this uninhabited island that, costs hundreds of dollars to get, like the boat out to and come back and, have a few hours there. Like I'm blessed. Like that. I'm so grateful. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to let a first unsuccessful activation get in the way, because like I was saying earlier, like, when we make mistakes and stuff like that, it's an opportunity to learn, and it's an opportunity to try to encourage others to like not have a fear of failure and stuff, because how many times do we overthink things as hams before like we put up an antenna or whatever, and then weeks, months go by, and it's like, what, I should have just put that up. I would have been having fun and making contacts. It's you're only going to overthink it to a few months later, take it down and make it better.
Analysis paralysis, man. Don't get into it.
Exactly. So I had a great time, and I'll just share one last photo from the trip and stuff. But there it is.
Loop.
There's the mag loop.
It got out.
I wasn't going to let the unsuccessful activation get in the way. I set up the mag loop, and I made a 30-meter FT8 contact with Italy from the balcony there.
All right.
Mag loop. It was definitely an exercise in futility getting the loop tuned. Those things are finicky, and that if you have like those metal railings like that, you can see anything like that in the near field with mag loops, it just makes
gets annoyed.
Yeah. And stuff, but I got it tuned up. I was able to get an FT8 contact with Italy. We got it verified on QRZ. That it made my day. I was just so excited, and it was good practice, and whatnot. I was able to get it tuned on some other bands, but I ran with 30 because it was something I've been trying to do all year. This work band Wednesday, I've been trying to encourage myself and others to try the work bands 12, 17, and 30 on Wednesdays. Just something different, whether it's just making a quick contact or doing 30-meter wind link or whatever and whatnot. So, I ran with 30 meters, made the contact, and I was just thrilled. And I celebrated.
Mike, what mag loop is that? What
the Alex loop?
That's the Alex loop. Oh wow, I've been looking. I've been going down the mag loop hole here lately. I'm looking hard. I had the Alpha AL705, and I made a decent contact. On a beach, I made a 5-watt contact to. If you guys know Uncle Gunter over in Germany, man, everybody on YouTube has him. It was just surprisingly he was on it, but it was frustrating because I'm a hunter, not a CQ caller. You know what I mean? And honestly, if you're going to use the mag loop, you tune that bad boy in, you find a frequency, and you get on there and call CQ. That's really the way to, in my opinion. But I just ordered the mag loop from the UK from 2 Echo 0 ERO. You know the guy that he customs.
Yes.
I just ordered one of those. It's coming, so it's great to see you the mag loop. I'm going to start going back down that rabbit hole again pretty soon.
I saw you in your ARL video. You had the mag loop in the background.
Oh yeah, that's that little cheap at $80 Guzigu mag loop. That thing doesn't work. That's why I don't.
Well, thank you for summarizing your video there, Walt. I won't go watch it now.
No, I didn't do a video on it. I did not.
I thought wasn't that the Guzigu one that you did, or no? Is that a different one?
No, that was the infant halfway. I had it.
Okay.
It's over there. I had it set up behind me because you know what I was doing. I actually had it hooked up to my little Malahit SDR. It's good for receive. It just doesn't. It doesn't do squat for transmit. So.
Now, with all this talk about mag loops, all right, so here's my idea, is I'm going to build a 26-foot long rectangular mag loop, and it's going to be a A-frame on the top of the camper, so that I can fold it down flat when I'm traveling and then put it up when I'm parked.
Dude, that's awesome.
It's going to take a whole lot of math and a whole lot of learning, but yeah. I'm excited for it.
I'm interested, man. I want to see that happen. That'll be awesome.
Now, are you looking to make it more vertical polarized or horizontal?
No, so it'll end up having kind of a lower takeoff angle, and it'll be a long skip zone.
Yeah, very cool. Then,
Interesting.
Mag loops, I always like to say that they're expensive, inefficient, frustrating witchcraft that actually works. Like,
So glad I don't want one.
and stuff. And mine, I bought when I got it from an estate sale, so I did get a good deal on it. But the mag loops can still be expensive, and I didn't know anything at the time. I had only been a ham for a couple months, so I didn't know what I was getting into. I just knew that I had a G90. And the mag loop could take 25 watts. So I was like, oh, this will be fine. And it was definitely a learning experience, but I don't know that I could ever get rid of it because the few times that it's come in handy or useful, I'll go months without touching it. And then it's like, oh, I'm going to bring it on this trip just as a backup. And then you use it and it works. And it's like, okay, I'll hold on to it.
The biggest challenge with mag loops is just getting them tuned up.
Yeah,
that's usually the biggest issue that takes the longest time. So, and like alpha antenna, which I have, it's really you almost have to go in and listen to it by ear. And when it gets like loud, you just kind of move it just a little bit, and then you're supposedly kind of tuned up on it. But I've also used it with the analyze before, and that can be a little challenging too because you don't want to be too close to it and everything because you get that reflectivity and stuff. So.
Yeah, here's just real quick. That's a shot of, that's the best I could do. I was down below 1.5 on the other bands, but when you get to 30 or 40 meters on the mag loop, they're not going to be the best. And so I was just right around a 2.0 or just above SWR, but I was still able to make contacts with it. But I mean, when it comes to the bandwidth, that's like what you're talking about. Like it's very narrow on the lower bands. On a 10 to 15 meters, no problem. It's easier to tune. You get much more bandwidth, but if I sneeze wrong next to that thing, then I got to retune it. It's
The other
Well,
problem is when you're tuning it, the capacitance, your body, your hand on the capacitor, when you let off, you almost have to guess it and let go of it and then watch it go, because just like when you were a kid and you take your hand and you put it up by an antenna on your radio, you hear that. It's the same way with tuning a mag loop. You're never dead on because of it.
Yep.
So you're just going to have a weekend at Bernie's where you put your dead friend in front of it and tell him to tune it while you're busy trying to watch the SWR meter.
That's the reason why I bought the 2 Echo Zero ERO mag loop. His has a tuner on it where you can sit. It has a motor, so I can sit by the radio and tune it.
Nice.
And I don't have to put my hand up on it. I think it's brilliant.
Nice. Yeah, the other thing about mag loops, I mean, you're right, it's very narrow banded, but I mean, it's nice if you want to just sit here on this frequency or on this band and just sit right there. But if you are hunting pecker to move around and try and find other stations, it is the worst antenna to do that with. So,
and that's
actually how I taught myself to tune it. Is I sat in the backyard, not at a POTA park. I sat in my backyard hunting with my G90. And just hunting POTA, and so not only was it frustrating trying to break through the pileups, but having to keep on retuning, like you're just saying, Marvin. But that practice, that paid off. That got me comfortable, and I learned how delicate you have to be with tuning it, and how to listen.
Are you using the 705 with like using your ear to hear it?
Well, the G90 makes mag loops easy because of the SWR sweep, and it's really easy. You can just have that sweep run in, and you can kind of touch and make those fine tuning adjustments.
Yeah, I use mine with a 705, like you do too.
The 705, I'll tune it, and you have to. You can't do like the constant SWR sweep on the 705. You can do the bar chart like I showed, but I can't be making adjustments and watch it in real time like I could with a G90. So I'll listen by ear, and I'll try to adjust it to the maximum signal that I hear by ear, like static and other things. And then I'll go and I'll get a sense when I look at the SWR chart on the 705, and hopefully I can see if I just need to go up or down a little bit. And
that's part of the problem too. You don't know, do I turn it right? Do I turn it left a little bit? You don't really know. And then all of a sudden you're back way off in the charts again. It's like, crap, I got to start this over again.
It's definitely that way. It really, my problem is I'm a DX hunter, and it's not going to work. My new thought is with this new mag loop I've got. I also recently picked up a great analyzer, so rig expert. So what I'm going to do is go to the beach, look for a place that looks clear before I even ask is the frequency clear, and then tune the thing. Use a rig expert while I'm doing it. Get it like just spot on, and have that thing like when I'm on the beach aimed at Europe or whatever, and then just say, is frequency clear? Okay, yeah, thank you very much, CQ, and sit there and call CQ and not hunt with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the perfect things about mag loop is if you want to go do FT8, you just tune it to that frequency, and then you can sit there and do FT8, because that's what the great thing of it is. But I see some people talking about hotel rooms and things like that, and that's the reason I bought mine. But I unfortunately, because of the tuning factor, I haven't used it as much as I should. And I need to go sit on my back porch and probably practice with it like you did more, and I'd get better at it. But
when somewhat off topic, but totally related to how I learned the mag loops. When my first car was a manual, and I took that thing to it was Hamilton College during winter break, and a lot of colleges, as you know, all hills, right? And I brought this manual car it was a Nissan Sentra to the college during winter break, and I just stopped on the hill in December, and I'm like, I am going to figure this out, and I'm going to get the shifting and the clutch and everything down, and I did it because it was going to force me, being on a hill in the winter, to really get the rhythm and the timing and all that down. And after a couple hours on the hill and doing donuts in the parking lot, like, I was good to go,
and a brand new clutch. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's how I can tell how old I am. Mike, when I was in college, they didn't have Nissan yet. We called them Datsuns.
Yes.
280ZX. Datsun 280ZX.
Yeah, those are collectors now, man.
I learned to drive on a stick shift.
So did I.
I learned to drive on a column, three on the tree. That's how I learned to drive.
Wow.
My grandfather's 65 Dodge Dart. That's how I learned how to drive.
Nice car. Hey, well, let's put a pause here real quick. He's got a couple of things. We got to address the obviously, news related issue. Walt, what are you drinking? Everyone's asking. They all keep saying it's Foster's. Okay, so there we go.
VK juice. VK juice.
There we go.
And you know what? I'm glad you said that. I got to go get another one. Keep talking.
Foster's Australian for piss.
Yes, exactly. In a can. Here you go. And we want to thank Jonathan, Whiskey 5 Gulf India, for the $10 super chat there. I don't know who that's hitting. I assume it's Paul or probably Mike, since those guys are been doing stuff on their channels. So thank you again for that.
So Eric, I let the cat out of the bag a little early in the chat.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. And I said, listen, next week, Eric and I are going to do a 3,000 subscriber joint giveaway live stream. And so I said, if somebody's willing to throw a super chat in there, I will throw an extra t-shirt into the giveaway. Wow. And so John was like, yeah, I'm down. So I'm going to throw an extra shirt in the giveaway pile.
Oh, we appreciate the $10 there, super chat, John, and we'll look forward to the dual super chat, the dual 3,000 giveaway between Paul and I.
I'm going to address a quick question that I saw in the chat from Bob. Did any of the local Islanders show interest in what I was doing? So, if you mean when I was doing like the POTA activation, no, nobody. I tend to be discreet when I go out for POTA. I'm not putting flags up and trying to draw attention. Like I don't want to be bothered, and I don't want to bother people, and I don't mind if people come over, they ask questions, and the most common question I get is not, are you talking to aliens? It's unfortunate. It's when I got a 17-foot whip on my car and people are like, how do you go under bridges with that?
That's always the question.
That's the most common question. Like, how do you drive with that on your car? I'm like, I don't like, but
yeah,
but it's but no, nobody on the island said anything, and then as far as like when I was in Puerto Rico or reaching up, I tried making contacts, but on the repeaters, but no luck.
Good one, Jody.
Yeah,
good one.
It kind of dovetails into his hotel one. And man, that first entry opening in your hotel video with the antenna is liquid gold. Yeah. I wanted to, I wanted to AI that thing to hell.
So we're gonna get busy in the Motel 6.
Yeah, I know exactly. Everybody caught on it. It was perfect. I was like,
we'll leave a light on for you.
Mike doesn't. It. You should have.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. So cool. Well, yeah, keep throwing your questions there.
Yeah,
you're wearing
John,
sunblock
with Mike's complexion.
No, being a redhead. That's a guarantee. So you should ask him what level.
Puerto Rico in a heartbeat, though. Like, we had such a good time. It was just great weather, great people.
Mike, wait till you go to St. John. 3/4 of the island is a national park, so you can go different beaches. You can go to the top of the hills. You go anywhere. It's awesome.
I'm going to have to agree with Todd. I've been to Puerto Rico. I've been to St. John. I've been to St. Croix. I've been to St. Thomas. St. John's pretty awesome, dude. Make that one your next trip.
Yeah, that's where it's awesome.
Yeah, we were supposed to, but it got canceled. We will again. We will again. Definitely going to make that happen. I was ready, all gear waiting in hand. So cool. All right. Well, dude, that was an impressive trip. The fact that all that cool stuff. Even if you didn't play a little radio, it was still cool. Good memories with the family. That's the most important part for sure. Radio always comes kind of second in that sense in my mind. But dude. Even the contacts, like, you had a pretty good, like, if you go back to that spread pattern, I was looking at that and I was like, wow, he had pretty good reach. I would have thought, on 10 watts, he would have, had barely any reach in mid, he's almost kind of in the, middle of the country there. So, even up to New Hampshire.
Yeah, no,
the time of the day probably had a lot to do with that too, didn't it, Mike?
Yes,
oh, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Because it was like, and we were on Atlantic time. It was funny that I think Todd, you were mentioning Atlantic time in the in the intro or in the beginning, but it was like in the afternoon on like a weekday. So it was like a Wednesday afternoon. And, obviously if I could have been there on a weekend, that would have been different. But it is what it is. And timing, it can be such a huge factor, because if there's nobody on the other side or there aren't enough people, then, the struggle is going to be real. So.
Yeah, the Caribbean they don't change daylight savings time. So when we're in like the summer, it's the same time zone. So they just stay Atlantic the whole time.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
cool.
You know what I like to do when I go on vacation? If I can't take ham radio gear with me, a place like that, like my wife and I we go down on the Gulf Coast in Destin or whatever. I like to get up early in the morning, like as the gray line's coming, and listen to medium wave AM radio. It's amazing when you go down like by the water. Like I go down and sit with my feet in the water, and you could just, and I sit there and like, damn, if I had an HF radio with me right now, I'd be slaying. You know what I mean? You can just feel it when you get down on the beach. It's pretty cool.
Mm. Yep. Yeah. I always have those things that I now have created a beach bag kit with me. So I just grab it with me. And if I can convince the wife otherwise, I will crack it out and use it. So fill that need.
Yeah. No, I absolutely hate the beach. So like
Paul came down to Rhode Island. I wish I could have gone out with you. It was like the weekend you were coming, I was going to Virginia. Then the next weekend you were coming, I was like working all weekend. We gotta do like a Rhode Island hookup on the beach. Like Mike, you need to come down too, man. We would just all like rent a place, like I said before, and just go out on the beach and play.
Totally, man. Totally.
You guys can.
Well, you've already got a place there. You know how many? Like, does that sofa open up?
Well, I'm up now. I'm up near Providence now. I'm farther away. I was by the beach. Where I'm at now is up on the west side of Providence. The cool thing is, I don't know if you guys are New England guys. You're familiar with Scituate, what was there, and the radio listening post during World War II, where they listened to Rommel in Northern Africa, right here in Rhode Island.
Yep.
I'm so close to Scituate, and it's kind of like neat to be here with the radio history of the surrounding area up here, in the middle of the state where I'm at. It's kind of cool. I'm gonna try to get over there and sneak around and look and see. There's still some of the old antennas in the woods there, if I want to understand. And
the tower's still there, as far as I understand. And it's mostly just neighborhood now.
I think I'm 7 miles from there right now, where I'm at. That's how close I am to it.
Wow, nice. Yeah. Dude, well, even then, I mean, a trip to the coast in Rhode Island's like what, an hour if max, to get to the coast.
2.5.
So. Yeah. Well, from us, but from him being in where he's at, that would be the stretch, just because Rhode Island has no quick way to get anywhere.
Yeah. You can go through Rhode Island in 40 minutes.
You could, but we all know Rhode Island traffic sucks.
If you have Massachusetts tags, you can go through it in 30 minutes, because I watched it.
You could. Put it this way: my son went to school down in, oh my gosh, I just forgot what the school he went down, the cooking school down there. Anyway, yeah. So he was down in Providence, and
Johnson
literally thank you. Yeah. So to get to the Johnson and Wales campus on the coast side to his dorm, no matter where you went in the downtown line, area, it took you 25, 30 minutes to get to like something where it take us 5 minutes to get across town. So, it's pretty tense.
What's really cool where I work in North Kingstown is the old Quonset Naval Air Station, where the carrier piers used to be. That's where our shipyard's at. And now there's a park there. There's a beach between the old piers and the shipyard where I'm at. So I get off work, like when I was there last summer, I'd get off work and just run right over to the beach next to the shipyard. If I kept my camera looking straight out at Narragansett Bay, it looked beautiful. But if I turned either way, it was like industrial all around me. You know what I mean? It was tough, but it's still cool for operating and such. But I really got to see a lot last summer. I can't wait to finish up this summer and go see some more. Even where I'm at now, I can get to the beach in 20 minutes. We should just coordinate because where Izzo is, where we are, there's got to be some like nice big chunk of POTA Park that we can meet somewhere midstream for everybody and just go out and do a full POTA Park all day kind of thing. That'd be cool. That would be epic. Especially there's a couple, like I said, there's a few beaches that are POTA beaches too, so that would be cool.
That'd be cool. Yeah, we'll have to coordinate that. I got to write that down because every time we leave this, and I'm like, yeah, that'd be awesome. And then it's like, life gets
that's
in the
one
way.
state I haven't activated yet is Rhode Island up there, so I got to get that done. So I'll have to come see you, Walt. So
Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't
definitely,
done that either.
definitely.
Well, you know, the wife was just saying this morning, right, that now that we've got global the mobile grouch command, right? She says, well, I appreciate that you want to go in the mountains, but could we also go to the beach? I suppose. Yeah, we could go to the beach.
Mm-hmm. Very
Who's
cool.
going to Dayton? While we're on the plate on the taking the road trip, who else going to Dayton? Anybody?
I'll be there.
I'll be in Florida.
We all got to catch up at Dayton for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
we do.
definitely.
We
Oh,
definitely
we'll
do.
go to the Troll Bar. Everybody goes to the Troll Bar
Yeah.
on Saturday night, so we'll definitely be there.
I'll be down in Huntsville.
I'll be there too. So it'll be cool. I'm really excited about Dayton because I'm going to be working. I'll be at the ARRL booth because there's a book coming out and I will be there signing them. So I'm looking forward to that.
Ooh, signed copy.
Yeah, my book is set to be released right before Dayton. That's going to be the big deal is Dayton. So I'll be at the ARRL book booth. Hopefully it all works out. And then I'm also going to do I'll be one of the speakers for the ARRL conference there for that.
Are you doing actual talk or?
Yeah, we're going to talk about operating by the sea. Mike, I want you to take notes, okay, when you're there. I'm gonna...
Yeah. Yeah, I still got a lot of work to do when it comes to beaches.
You did good, man. You did good. I'm messing with you, man. You were there. You took advantage of the 15 minutes you had, and you did damn good for them, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I always say too. I always point it out when people give you a hard time in the comments about like, oh, you're just able to do what you do because you got the beach and the salt water or whatever. And I'm quick to point out, every antenna you've used and built, I've put up in the woods and made work. You know, it's
not salt and water dependent.
No, but it does. I mean, there is
It
something
helps.
to it, but yeah, it helps. No lie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you get a date for your book release?
Not yet. No, it was still. I got to be careful too. They told me not to talk too much, but
that is a tough one here.
yeah. For me, especially.
We won't tell nobody. We promise. Stay right here
Foster's,
between
man.
us.
The Australian troops.
Listen, all of our
coming
internet
out.
audience.
No, the plan is to get it out before Dayton. That's the plan. So and then I'm going to go to Dayton, and then I will be at Huntsville as well with it.
So I look at the Weekend Warriors as my group therapy, and so this can be your group therapy where everything is confidential, just between us.
Yeah,
And everyone listening and watching later.
NDAs don't exist here. There's nothing such as an NDA.
No, it's cool. And I got to tell you, and that's why I did my ARRL video as well. I have now been on the inside with everybody. I've met everybody there or whatever. They're really cool people, and they really care. They do, and it pisses me off when I see these people just ragging. Like, I think what sparked me to do the video I did about membership and whatever, and the second video was when someone took a picture of Dave Minster and put the red thing over top of him and whatever. I was like, come on, man. You're like, that was just over the top. Whether you like him or not, whether you think he's a good president or whatever you think, that was just like, it just, it irked me. And I was like, you know what? I want to do a video because I want to, and some of you guys on there might not agree with me. I'm sorry, but people don't like what's going on with the league or whatever.
So it's okay to disagree.
Yeah, it's okay to disagree, and I've met everyone on the other side of the fence on the human level. And
Well,
they're pretty good. They're pretty cool dudes. So
I'm assuming with your second retraction video that you got a cease and desist letter from the Winter Field Day group somewhere, right?
Yeah, you figured it out.
Walt, thank you for doing that. My brother reached out to you as soon as he saw that video, and he sent you that video and or that message, and I thank you for doing the correction on that. I saw your retraction as well, so much obliged. So.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I figured you were laughing about that, Eric.
Yep.
Yes,
I did get the email, and it was very, very awesome, classy, wonderful email. It just said, "Hey, Walt, in a nice way. You screwed up, but I fixed it. I fixed it.
Yep. No, we appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. You did
sent
the
that
retraction,
personal
and I
message.
watched.
I don't know if you saw
Go.
that or not.
I made the video because of that. I wasn't
Okay,
gonna.
yeah.
I was gonna let everybody turn off the comments and let everybody hate me. But then when I got that, I was like, man, I got to make that right. You know what I mean? So that's what I did.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So when I saw that retraction, I was like, I wonder what he's going to say. And then when the first 5 seconds you started in the winter field day, I was like, I'm going to shut this off. I know where that kind of came from. Yeah, you always kind of go through people's videos when they first do those like opinion pieces, and then you're like, do I nitpick it or do I just kind of let it slide when things like kind of happen and just kind of get the gist of the thing? And that's kind of what I did with the first thing. And then when your retraction came out, I was like, okay, yeah, that works. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. My son and I had a conversation about it. He's not a ham radio operator, but he's kind of a local celebrity in our hometown. He's a musician or whatever. He said, Dad, you know what? He goes, here's how I feel about it. I want to tell people that it's okay to just watch a video and not comment. You know what I mean? It's like, it's okay. Just watch the video and then go to the next video. And I was like, you know what? He goes, that's what I do because I have a life. I go, okay, enough said. You know what I mean?
Can you imagine if we did that with the mainstream TV? There would be no mainstream
gosh.
TV if everybody had a chance to comment on half of the stuff that's out there.
Yeah, it's true. I'll be honest with you though, the people that comment on my videos, it's hard for me sometimes. I'm so overwhelmed with time or whatever to reply to everybody, but I appreciate it. Even if I don't reply back to them, it is wonderful to build a community and know everybody and get to know people that are in it. So, you know, when I jokingly said that, but about the comments, but you know, I've met a lot of friends through the comments on my videos, like good friends now that we've gotten to know each other. So
Give him time.
Yeah.
oh, I got haters. But the video I just did on that antenna, I looked at it. It's got, I don't know, 5,000 or 6,000 views. It's got like 800 likes and 1 thumbs down. I'm like, who is that guy? Who's that one guy? You know what I mean? It's like,
One guy.
The slip. It was a slip of the mouse. That's the way it goes.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but no.
Now, I'll be honest with you. There are times where like something will come up in, you know, like I'll just let YouTube autoplay, right? Something will come up and it's just not my wheelhouse. And so I'll give it a thumbs down for the algorithm. I won't give it a thumbs down because I actually think the video sucks, but it's just that I don't want the algorithm to keep recommending that to me. So maybe that is what that is. I don't know.
I can tell you one thing. Now that where I'm at in YouTube with 26,000 subscribers, at this point, IDGAF with everything.
I don't.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
exactly. I don't give an actual fuck. Yep.
Yeah, it's like I don't care anymore because
Yeah.
I've been personally attacked. You know, everything. You know, I've been called everything else, whatever. If you only knew the amount of stuff I delete, and I'm like, look, man, I'm just an old dude with a wire in the ear talking on the radio, being a nerd, man. What are you like? What is your problem? You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, the personal attacks are totally uncalled for.
yeah, they
Like-
are.
Mhm.
They are.
All I have to say.
Ain't nobody got no time for that.
Totally. So anyway, cool. So yeah, good stuff there. Let's kind of pivot to Chris because I know he's kind of like sitting there waving in the wings a little bit, primarily because he's got contest people piling up in the back of his head, you know, waiting to make contact. So, you know, do tell us, you know, what's going on. Like, I mean, obviously you're in your van there right now, you know, getting prepped. So what's the scenario kind of look like?
Can you guys hear me?
You're a little
Yeah.
soft. Yeah, you're a little low, but we hear you.
Hold on 1 second. Let me adjust that.
There you go. Much better.
Oh, I didn't change anything.
You're good now.
Yeah, getting ready for the ARRL DX contest here. It actually started at 7. So I'm got that going on the side. I'm itching to get going on that, but wanted to join in with you guys. Tried jumping in there a few times, but I guess my audio wasn't
A little low. You got to shout. So, like with the DX stuff, you get like doing this, you know, all bands, all modes. Like, what's kind of your plan looking like for the weekend? It's all weekend, right?
Yeah, it's all weekend, 48 hours. I was gonna do all bands high power, but my amp is having a problem. I think I took the amp down too many dirt roads, so I need to realign the tubes in there. I think one of them might have come out, so I'll be operating low power.
So
Got-
what's that, like low power, like 1,000 watts instead?
100 watts. 100 watts.
Okay, all right. So barefoot for most of us, peons.
His van is like the coolest thing in ham radio, man. That thing
dude.
is freaking
So-
awesome. The first time I saw it was at Dayton last year, and I just like, Chris, next time I see you, we're gonna have to do. I don't know if you have Apple, but we're gonna have to do like the phone thing where I send all the pictures. I just walked around your damn van and took like 100 pictures of everything. I thought it was like I was geeking out.
It's
on
so
that thing in Dayton.
cool.
Yeah.
So
It's so cool.
Well, you said you need Vermont. I would
Yeah.
really like to get a contact with you that I catch on video and vice versa, and give you my video, you give me your video.
Do a little cross.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, we'll do it. That sounds like a plan. Email me. I don't know if I think I another problem with the ARRL video. I took my email off of my QRZ page. I'll put it back on.
I wonder why.
I'll put it back on. I'll put it back on. Watch. Or I'll tell you what. Is your email on your QRZ page?
Yeah, it is.
I'll email you. I'll email you tomorrow, and then we'll set it up and we'll set a time. We'll make it happen. That would be so cool. You do a video about getting my 50.
I would really be cool if you were on the beach and I was in the mountain.
That would be cool.
That would be that. Let's make it happen. We'll definitely make it happen. I will not answer anyone from Vermont until I get to you.
or wait. Let's throw this out there a little bit bigger. Do we want to pick a day and all of us get on at the same time?
That would be cool.
Well, we could do that. Like how soon we think of this? Because I'm actually going to Maine tomorrow, so I could cover Maine.
Let's do it after. Let's don't do it during the contest weekend. It's going to be impossible.
Yeah, that's obvious. That'd be suicide.
And then next weekend I'll be in Virginia, so maybe like weekend after next we could do it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'll email you. Maybe we can all email together, and we'll set it up. I would love to do that. That would be epic. And in the meantime, I won't answer any Volvo driving Vermonters until I get.
Walt, they're going to be calling CQ W1OGO.
Subies
all the time.
Mike, you're a Subi guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a Subaru guy now. Yeah,
I laugh. I joke about Volvos in Vermont, but I've owned a Volvo 240 wagon, a Volvo 740 wagon. I used to be a Volvo guy. That's why I play around with it. Everybody used to say, "You got everything but the Vermont tags on that." You know what I mean?
Volvos are like tanks. Those things like last forever.
Yeah.
No Peugeots. No Peugeots. Nobody has a Peugeot.
Love Peugeots, but I'm all about it. Now I'm a Jeep guy.
When I first started becoming a automotive enthusiast, like I had a friend who had a Peugeot, and I'm just like, "What's a Pueget? Tell me what's a Pueget." And they're like, "A what?" I'm like, "You mean a Peugeot?" I'm like, well, "That doesn't say Peugeot."
That's like the Renault and everybody back in the day.
Exactly,
The
Renault,
Renaults.
the Renaults, the Ronaldo.
when we were down in Puerto Rico, we had a Bronco. I put into rent from Enterprise. I put into rent a Jeep, a Wrangler, but they ended up giving me a Bronco. It worked out good for us, like for the family, and then a lot of the back roads because we spent some time in the rainforest and some of the back country. But I was not thrilled with it, to be honest. And I had driven Fords for like decades, and so like I was comfortable with a lot of the controls and the displays, and it was very familiar. But that thing was like you felt like every single pothole or whatever that you went over, but it worked out fine. So like I said, I can't complain. But I know Gray Man POTA, I think he was in the chat earlier. He's a big Bronco fan, and I know that Walt's a Jeep guy, and like
I'm a Jeep guy.
Sean Ham Radio Dude's a Bronco guy. Me and him argue all the time over Bronco versus Jeep. But,
there's another one in here. What's Tim's in there too somewhere, I thought. Yeah,
Mike,
I'm a Ram guy.
Come visit me in Rhode Island. I will let you drive my Wrangler on the beach. Okay, we'll do it.
Yeah,
sounds like a plan.
one time like last year we were looking for cars for my daughter, and I had brought my Jeep and I had parked it in the Ford place, and the guy was trying to sell me a Bronco. And he's like, you see that Jeep right there? That guy's probably turning that thing in to get a new Bronco. I guarantee it. And I said, you're wrong. That's my Jeep. Wrong. Not a good way to start your selling strategy is by trying to insult me.
My Jeep's got a name. You know what I mean? Like we love it's like a person. You know what I mean? We all that's how Jeep owners are. We love our Jeeps.
Yeah. Well, I had one and then I got rid of it, and it was the biggest mistake. And then I turned 50 and I bought a new one. I said, I'm buying my Jeep back.
Yeah.
I want to find, I really want to do this. I want to find an old 40s or 50s military Jeep and kind of and do a restore on it. But I want to take it down to white, paint it white, and make it completely a Coast Guard. Like the Coast Guard had white Jeeps. There were Coast Guard Jeeps. I think that would be so cool. But where it says U.S. Coast Guard, I'm gonna put Salty Walt's Coast Guard on it. You know what I mean? And have my little Coast Guard Jeep. Have the antenna back on the back. The whole military whip on the back. That'd be badass. I was like, it would be fun.
Well, hey Walt, I used to have a military 1984 military Blazer called a Cuck V. Ran on waste vegetable oil.
Oh, cool!
That thing was great. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Had the big whips on the side. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I was in college, one of the guys had one of those old military Jeeps, but he set it up where the exhaust came out the top.
Yeah.
And there was no doors or windows. It was just bare minimum. And we used to be able to drive it across the river. You'd be in waist high deep because the exhaust was up high. It was pretty fun. Had those skinny tires, like the skinny knobby tires that the old Jeeps used to have.
I had a 1984 Grand Wagoneer, the big one. The one when they were really, the big
the
box.
True Grand Wagoneer.
Yeah, and it was mine was white with the wood panel grain down the side. And I used to drive that thing all the way, and on the Outer Banks, you go out on the beach and drive all the way up, and you have to stop at the Virginia state line. They won't let you go on the beach there. I used to drive that thing up and down the beach all the time, and it was just one of the best four-wheel drive vehicles I ever had. Just air down and go. That thing was a beast. It had a 360 in it. And I tell you, I got about 9 miles to the gallon. That was the only problem. The thing would pass everything but a gas station, literally. It was just it was a beast. But when you'd be riding down the beach and everybody be bouncing all around, I'd be just cruising like I was on the interstate, nice and smooth, sitting on my sofa in my living room. That thing was just it was a beast. It was a big four-wheel drive vehicle. I loved it.
Well, I'll tell you, anytime any of you Jeep guys wants to trade and drive my Toyota Tundra, that truck will go anywhere and it will tow anything.
Oh, I love Toyotas. I'm not going to. You're right. They're great vehicles as well. I'm not really not a Bronco hater either. It's just the Bronco people, for some reason, they got this inferiority thing. They want to go after the Jeep guys. You know what I mean? So it is.
Well, it's because it's a Ford.
Yeah. But Ford made a Jeep. There's the GPV Jeep from World War II. They were built by Ford. People don't know that, but
still fix or repair daily.
Yeah, I know that.
Down on the road, dead, whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
my buddy used to say, and I had a friend who used to say first on race day, but that was
first to the gate. They got the Scouts out now too, so that's making a comeback.
That's cool.
Oh,
I would.
Did they bring back the International Scout?
They did, but it's electric.
I
knew that would make you happy.
You know what they make now? They make a what is it? The Dodge Challenger, a fully electric, 625 horsepower.
No, it's the Charger is. The Charger is now.
The Dodge Charger, right? Fully electric. I saw this thing in the dealership. I was like, "Dan, it was called the Charger Daytona." And the thing looked awesome. And then the guy's like, "Yeah, it's electric." I'm like, "What? A muscle car is electric?
That's
just wrong."
No. That's
what happens when you.
I looked it up though.
Thank you, Mike. Yes.
It said 600 and I think it was 625 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.25 seconds.
How do we turn it into an automotive show? I don't know.
I know.
Cars, guns, ham radios. You know,
That's right. I love
Somebody
all
spin
three
the
of
wheel. What's next?
All we're missing is barbecue.
Yeah, right.
Hey,
Exactly. And
I'm
beer.
a Southern
and
boy, so we don't want to go there. I'll I cannot find good barbecue up here.
Cool. Well, we're
Go to
getting close to
Marvin's
the
house. It makes pretty
Casey's
good
Rib
barbecue.
Shack.
No, go. You want some good barbecue? Go to Smokehouse over in Amherst. There's that one, and then there's another one. I'm forgetting. Man, can't remember shit.
Let's just be honest. No one's going to Mississippi for lobster, and no one's going to New England for barbecue. Okay, can we just
Right.
just get that out there? Right?
Exactly.
Not entirely true. Okay, fine. I'll give you that.
I'll lay it out that way.
Well, we're coming up on the top of the hour here, fellas. So I don't know if we want to kind of, we got any more things we want to, iron out here, deal with before we kind of wrap things up.
I thought this was a very well. We stayed on the ham radio all the way to the Jeep Bronco thing. It was a good.
Yeah.
This is a very informative video for the newer ham that wants to see how we talked about operating portable, POTA, radios, antennas, batteries, traveling with batteries, but this was an informative video. This one should be a must watch for everybody.
And how Mike will be sending us all tickets to Puerto Rico for our next ham meetup.
Our POTA meetup on the island so we can get it activated.
We'll call it the beach invasion.
Southeast Ham Radio. Yes.
Now, Mike, if you go to St. John, I know a guy that will take you back to that island in Puerto Rico, so you could actually activate it if you want.
Nice.
It just costs you about $1,500.
Oh my gosh.
Drop in the bucket.
Hey, no problem. All right, well, let's kind of put a little bit of a wrap up to this. So I guess we'll start kind of at the top there, since Todd is to my top left there. Why don't you let folks know what's going on in your channel, what's going on with you, and maybe how they can reach out to you.
All right. Well, I have started making some videos. Putting them on Live Free and Ham Diaries. So I'm just playing around with it. So when you look at them, they're not very good, but it's a start, and I will be starting to throw some stuff on my own channel. My latest video, I went snowboarding with my son, who's 11, first time in 33 years, and I didn't break any bones, but I couldn't walk for about 4 days. So there's a little video on there of me snowboarding, and I used to teach it when I was in high school, and I thought it'd be no problem. It took me I put this thing on, and I was like, you got to be shitting me. Like, this does not feel right. Like, am I really going to do this again? But, had to show the kid that I still had it in me. So after the third run, it all clicked back. It was like riding a bike. And then he's like, damn, Dad, you're better than me. I'm like, well, I better be. I used to do it at the time in high school, it was part of my job. So, but besides that, I've been messing around with Meshtastic. I went snowboarding again with him Wednesday night, and I brought my little Meshtastic radio. And I thought I was going to a bigger hill, but in Manchester, in the city, it's just a little sledding hill. But I did pick up a lot of stations, like on the top. I just had it in my pocket and checked it out when I got back. So been learning about that. And you can reach me at Live Free and Ham or w1stj.nh@gmail.com.
Cool.
That's about it.
Sweet. Well, definitely go check out that video. I've got to go actually check it out myself and, see your snowboarding prowess there, for 4-year-old, 3-year-old.
Well, listen, I was going to, Ryan, N1SNA, N1,
W1.
right? W1SNH.
W1.
He was gracious enough to let me borrow his snowboard, which was a year old, like brand new, and the one I had was 33 years old. And thank God he did that, because when I grabbed it, the binding just crumpled broke into my hand, because it was just brittle. Like, that wouldn't have gone good. So I did get to try something new, and it was pretty good. It was the best board I've ever ridden, so it was all cool.
Cool. Awesome.
Don't laugh, Marvin.
I'm laughing at Mike's comment. Instead of me, I may talk to I was talking to him about the Springfield Hellcat, and he goes, "Well, don't make me do that because I might have to go buy one." I was like, "Yeah, that's what we do as friends." Remember, not just
It's a ham thing. Come on, that's a guarantee.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, hey, how about you, Mike? How can they reach out to you, and what's been going on in your little world?
I mean, you can find me on YouTube at the Mike N2MAK if you haven't found me there yet. And if you're able to spell my last name, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at KennerConnect. But what I got in the works is I definitely got to do a couple videos from the Puerto Rico trip. I'll do one on the failed activation. But I think I'm going to do a video. I started making a list, and I mentioned a couple things earlier, just like things I wish I would have done. Not anything mission critical, but things I wish I maybe would have done in advance, like programming in some of the marine frequencies to the HT to have those ready, or maybe some different gear I would have brought. Nothing that I think would have made an impact, but I think I'm going to do I'll do a video just kind of like things I wish I would have done. But yeah, I finally got a video out the other day. It's been a crazy month with work and travel and stuff like that, but I got a lot of stuff I just got to get to in the next week or so. I'll be out in Cleveland this weekend, and I'm going to see if I can maybe sneak in a park while I'm out there, or on the way out or back. We'll see. But other than that, yeah, just it's a crazy time of year for me, but I'm not complaining.
Hey,
it's all good.
No problem. Always fraught with something new going around the corner for
Yeah.
sure. And, you can always, check out Mike's hotel escapades, over on his channel too. We all love his latest antenna hotel, rendezvous, we'll call it. You should really change that title around,
I might be working on part 2 when I'm in the hotel tomorrow. We'll see. So it depends how much time my son wants to spend in the pool and how much he'll put up with in the hotel room. But yeah, it's because I won't be flying solo tomorrow, but I might work in a part 2 to that. We'll see.
Cool. Looking forward to it. Yeah. Cool. How about you, Paul? How can people get a hold of you? What's been going on in the Grouch's channel?
Well, so people can get a hold of me either through my channel or Live Free and Ham, or in the Flag and Torch Discord if you so choose. I've got a couple of videos coming out. I got them up. One being my first in the RV park. That experience was like. Plus the further changes to the Grouch mobile command. I've also got a video that I'm going to be making probably tomorrow on the KV4P radio module that goes to your phone. Very excited about that. I got 2 boards and 2 awesome cases. So thank you, Chris Bricker, for the awesome cases. Really excited to make those videos and get that build done. Now, one of the big changes to the studio scenario going from the QTH to Grouch mobile command is now I have a little work area next to me. And so there's going to be a vertical camera shining down so that everybody can see exactly what I'm doing when I'm doing it. And so I'm trying to add, a couple more cameras. Yeah, all right. Just minus the PowerPoint presentations, because that's not my bag.
I'm sorry, I had to do that.
No, it's great. Listen, I'm having a ton of fun. And I'm glad that people are enjoying my content. So I'm just going to keep pumping it out. And thanks for watching and subscribing and supporting the channel.
And there's what's the big one? Come on.
Yeah, that's right. I just hit 3,500 subscribers. And so Eric and I are going to do a live stream next week where we're going to give away a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to give away some Live Free and Ham t-shirts, some Flag and Torch t-shirts, and a whole bunch of other swag. So you definitely want to make sure that you get the bell clicked on both our channels for that one.
Totally. Yeah. We'll make that announcement soon. And once we get the the details ironed out. So looking forward to that one. That should be
Speaking
fun.
of t-shirts, thank you, Grouch. I see what you're wearing there.
Just give him a chance.
I just ordered your shirt last night.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Nice. Very cool. Awesome. All right. Well, hey, how about you, Chris? How can people find out more about you and what's going on?
All right. I would like to put in a little plug for my most recent video here. I'm still very new to the YouTube thing, but getting a little bit more comfortable posting some stuff. Just posted a video a while back on the Vermont QSO party and HF contesting out of a van. Basically,
Down by the river, right?
yeah, giving you guys a little snip of what my world is like operating out of this thing. I'll post it here in the comments if anybody wants to take a peek. I would love to hear good or bad comments. Just trying to figure out my place in the whole YouTube world and whether I should change things up or keep doing things the way I am.
Cool. All right. Well,
Just
make sure
be
we
you.
get your. Yeah. Yeah. That's the best advice. Yeah, we'll have to get you. I forgot to grab all the links. I'll go get that in a second here and throw those in the channel. So if you haven't over and showed some love to Chris, head over to Lost Nation Radio. Is that right, Chris?
Yeah, Lost Nation Radio, all one word. Just let me know.
There we go.
That's fine.
Sweet. All right, cool, awesome. Looking forward to more content there with you. Definitely love some of that stuff out of that van, and that is one of those things that make me super jealous. Not that I could find a space to park it, but
Ooh, I got to pitch this real quick. We're talking about the van, right, Chris? You're bringing that out to Hamvention, right?
Hey,
Yep, I will be
Okay.
actually doing a talk out at Hamvention about the van as well. So in the contesting forum.
I'm looking at the POTA map now, and John Bryan State Park, north of Xenia.
Okay.
The Little Miami River goes right through the park. So maybe we could get the van down by the river,
All right.
and we can do the Chris Farley activation.
So if anyone,
as long as you dress up like Chris Farley, Mike, that's the way it's got to be.
I'll do it.
who I forgot who else is coming to Dayton, but if you guys want to meet and bring your POTA stuff, I'll bring the mast. You guys can hang whatever antennas you want off the mast at 60 feet and play with your radios.
That's
and,
a great idea.
I'll provide the mast. You bring your radio.
No, Mike, you got to do the Batman in a little coat.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll be able to pull it off. Trust me. Yeah.
Jerk the wheel into a goddamn bridge abutment.
Very cool. Awesome. All right. Well, cool. Looking forward to more from you, Chris, for sure. How about you, Walt? How can people get a hold of you?
Just check me out on Coastal Waves and Wires. That's my channel. Last January, February have been kind of crazy months. My wife had some health issues, but she's A-okay now. Went through that. We had a death in the family, so it's kind of like gone through a little bit of a valley. But I'm in a new place where I can play ham radio all the time. I just got my new Yaesu. I got some antennas. One of the things I'm going to do over the last 6 or 7 months since I've been here, I've gotten a lot of 10-meter rigs that were sent to me that I went out and did like one video on. I think during the week now that I can like do it, I'm going to do a taking a second look at and go back on some of the radios that I have here before I give them away or whatever. I'm going to do that because it would be neat. I've done the videos like sitting in my Jeep at the beach or on the beach or whatever. I want to hook them up here to a decent antenna away from water or whatever, and go back through what I have. I have a lot of radios that I've acquired, which it's one of the good things. Chris, as you keep growing as a YouTuber, you'll see that certainly people want to start giving you free radios, and I'll never turn down a free radio. So it's going to happen. You'll get there. And if I can give you a little bit of you were saying you wanted some advice on your videos. I go back 3 years ago when I started, a little over 3.5 years ago, and look at my videos and cringe watching them. But I got to be a better YouTuber by just keep going, keep rolling, man. And then as you keep rolling, you're going to get beat up. turn into Teflon. Don't listen to people and just keep putting content out there because you got a perfect setup, man. I love that van, and you could really, your channel's going to be amazing.
So Walt, I was talking to Eric earlier today. I don't understand the YouTube algorithm. I have a video, gets 10,000 views. I'm blown away. Wow. I spent no time making it. It was just raw, unedited stuff.
Yeah.
Then I edit a video, spend 2 days editing it, and it flops. So,
it happens to me. I'll put together. I will put hours and hours and hours into a video thinking it's the best video I've ever done. And when as you start getting a lot of videos, you'll have your like out of your last 10, 1 through 10, and it'll hover down there at 10. And I'm like, damn, I would have thought that would have been like would have just skyrocketed. That's the other thing. You can't figure out the algorithm. It is what it is. The bottom line is just put out the best content you can. It'll find its way. You know what I mean? And you'll be fine.
It will.
Yeah, and 90% of the time, a video that you love will not get well liked.
Yep.
And it just is what it is. Like,
yep,
it is. That's true. Very cool. Well, so it's I just forgot where I was going to go with that, but either way, cool. It's
Eric, what's going on in your channel?
Well, I was going to go to Marvin first because in essence, I prefer to go to Marvin first because I got to go back and circle my wagons. But anyway, so Marvin, where can people find more about you?
We'll come back to you then, Eric.
We will.
Find me over at the Ham Radio Guy. Got the podcast going. I'm trying to do. You've probably seen since Hamcation several new videos come out. Did something on the rotor controller. Did an interview with Spec 5 Mesh-tastic. That's getting a lot of reviews right now as well and looking really good. So a little bit of a longer video, but that has a lot of information in it. So it's really good. Still just trying to produce a lot more content, get out there a little bit more and, provide, information to new hams, keep people engaged and, find interest. And it's what I love doing. I love teaching and love being a part of this great ham radio community and just continue to build the channel and information as well. So, I have a couple different things come up, but I don't really have it off the top of my head what those are because I know I've got them listed, but of course I can't remember at the moment what that is. But I'll have some more stuff coming out here pretty soon. I'm gonna be doing one talking about Winter Field Day and how the guy was able to make all his contacts. That should be a pretty interesting interview as well. And just real quick, I'm going to talk about Winter Field Day for just a second. Everybody knows I'm the president of that as well. And guys, we had a record for this year for 300,000 USOs to be made. And I'm going to say, if you got clapping available, Eric, we're now over 345,000 contacts. So we have just blown our goal away for this year. And we've got a number of extra logs and a number of people submitting everything. We've now created a help desk email for Winter Field Day. So we're really changing things so it's all going in the good direction. But thank you for everyone who participated in Winter Field Day. Again, over 340,000, almost 350,000 on it, actually contacts. So I'm so happy about that. And just I couldn't be more stoked. So thank you for everybody on putting your logs in. We did extend the deadline just about a week for that to give you a little bit more time. We're still trying to correct a few, but results will be out much sooner this year. So just be aware of that.
Great.
Thank you.
Yep. As Hannibal Smith always used to say,
I love it when a plan comes together.
That's one of my favorite lines. Absolutely.
So very cool. All right. Well, it's good to hear.
Eric?
Well, thank you for asking, Marvin. Well, I have to say, just like Grouch made mention of, I just crossed over the 3,000 mark. I'm slowly, puttering up to 3,300 now at this point. So thank you for the applause, sir. It's been a fun run. So, we're prepping the coffers there for that giveaway. So that's real good. I had to tuck tail. So those that might be watching Live Free and Ham a little bit, we usually do our ham diaries over there. So I did a failure is an option, kind of message because we had just got out on the good day, and me, Paul, and one other guy, a friend of us, it basically all tried to do a head-to-head-to-head antenna matchup whisper style with all of the typical verticals that we have out there when we do POTA. So like the Wolf River Coil, the Mad Dog 80, you know, and the Res 80. And we were trying to do it all together. But, you know, Murphy's Law decided to tell us to go, you know, flip us the middle bird. You know, we had computer problems and antenna tuning issues. And so we just ran out of time. So, you know, I had to learn from that lesson, but it was a good learning, you know, kind of moment. And I knew what I now need to fix going forward. So that video is coming soon. You know, and on top of that, actually, I talked to Michael over at Res, and he's, you know, I had to ship the antenna back to him because I held on it way too long. But he's offered to either, you know, if someone picks one up, Todd, you know, or, you know, we buy one as Live Free and Ham and give it away after, you know, we might, you know, have another opportunity to definitely get that tested. And I would love to see those head-to-head numbers and see kind of which one, you know, comes out on the top on that one. And I got a battery box build.
I'll pitch in for that.
You will? Okay. Todd, you in?
Yeah, I'll pitch in for that.
We'll split the antenna 3 ways. You're muted, bud. Unmute.
No, I'm gonna buy it, I think.
Okay. All right.
I
Well,
like the way it looked. We'll figure it out.
Well, then, yeah, we'll figure that one out. we'll do it as a giveaway either way. You know, we'll figure that one. That would
giving
draw
away my antenna.
Not yours. We'll buy another one from Live Free and Ham. And so, yeah, we're hitting 500 on Live Free and Ham. So that's a milestone. So hopefully, if you haven't been over there, subscribe to that channel. We'd love to have you as a, you know, part of the community. So definitely, yeah, I hear Hammer YouTube talking battery box. Yeah, I'm building my ultimate battery box. The guys on Live Free and Ham and on our last show that we recorded, we talked in depth about that. So if you want to be a Patreon on that, head over there. You can hit all the juicy details on that. But that's coming. So, you know, you have to wait there, K Murder, and eventually, you know, you and the rest of the world get to see my fruits of my labor. So, yeah, outside of that, you know, there were a couple things in the chat. So I just want to make sure. Thanks again, Jonathan W5GI, for the $10 super chat. And John, basically, he made a comment about, does this group have a Discord? Well, John, we have responded, and we do. So if you want to head over, I'll throw in the chat there a link to our Discord. It's the Live Free and Ham Discord, but we got a channel in there called Northeast Ham Radio. You can go hang out with all of us guys down there and hang out in the Live Free and Ham community. So we'd love to have you hang out there and be part of that. So definitely, you know, go check that out if you want to come, you know, continue the conversation on here. And the last one I think we had actually had a super sticker from V5SAR Hamnetics. So appreciate that as well. And so with that, you know, we're going to put a bow on this. And thank you again, guys, for hanging out tonight. I know it was a little challenge for all of us to kind of get things together. And, you know, we hope Izzo, who said he was going to be here, is not suffering from the, you know, throw up Ebola virus that's going around. So we can hope and send.
It's been engaged. You guys know that, right? You just got
we heard he's actually at Field Day is going to schedule his wedding. So you know that's you know, that you heard it here. So send all your presents and your wedding you know, gifts to their local club. So cool. All right. Well, outside of that, I think we should just say 7 threes and say sayonara, guys. Appreciate everybody. Thank you guys, everybody in the chat. As always, remember, we do this show all over again next month. So make sure you check out all of our channels for the latest live link there. And with that, 7-3, y'all.
7-3.
7-3.
7-3.